Here on the Sportscast, we are buzzing to have Hybrid Training Centre as our new main sponsor. Hybrid trains, assess and develops programs for the gas, electrical, plumbing and renewable energy industry. Whether you are looking to build a career in engineering or an employer who wants to upskill his workforce, check out the link in our bio and see what courses Hybrid have on offer. What's happening, everyone? Welcome to the Sportscast. It's me, Andy Grant. Got Gary Judge with me from Across the Park podcast and our producer Musk, and we are in the workshop in Waterloo on the corner of St John's Road, Liverpool Road. It was the best roast dinner in Liverpool, in my opinion. They got offers on the small plates Wednesday to Friday, and also on a Thursday they do off the barbecue. It's 2 meats, 3 sides and a bottle of wine for 50 quid, and I won't say your line, Gary, don't worry. So yeah, massive thanks to the workshop for having us in here. Also, we've got our main sponsors, which is Hybrid Training Centre. If you're on the tools or looking to get on the tools and want to upskill anything from, I'll just get their Instagram up, actually they got all the things on there. It delivers accredited, industry-led gas, plumbing, electrical and renewable training courses across the north. They've been great to us, and the course that they do, I know a few lads who've been on them say that they're second to none. So again, if you're on the tools or wanting to get on them, go and check them out on Instagram, Hybrid Tech. It's Hybrid Training Centre or Hybrid Tech on Instagram, and you'll find them. Right, you all right?
Yeah.
Well done, by the way. Team effort last week.
Oh yeah, forgot about that. The bet.
So
wow.
for those who listen to the podcast every week, if you sign up on Patreon, it's I think £5 a month. It is £1 a week or just over £1 a week. We give out betting tips every Saturday. I give a treble, Gary gives a treble, and we put them both together.
Big write up as well.
It's
so
a
you can pick and
six-fold.
choose, can't you?
Yeah. That's what we suggest to do. And it's all £10 every week. Well, that's the suggested again. If you only want to put £5 on, £1 on, it's up to you. We suggest a tenner, £3 on my treble, £3 on Gary's, and then £4 on the six-fold. Last week, we got all 6 in. And if you'd put £10 on, like we'd said, you would have won over £100, which was...
Well over £100 if you'd done what
well
you
over,
just suggested then. Yeah, it'd have been about 120 on the six-fold, and then, you know, you'd have got...
So yeah, it's
well
£4. It's £4
4
on the
and 2,
treble.
isn't
Yeah,
it?
4, 4 and 2 we do.
4,
so
4, 2.
it was a 28 to 1, I think a 6 to 1, a 4 to 1, and we cleaned up. So that would have been 2 years worth of Patreon paid for in one hit.
Or more likely, it's a good few nights out for you, isn't it?
Exactly. So if you do want to get involved in our betting tips this week, sign up on Patreon and they'll be there in your inbox Saturday morning. Next week is a big week for me and Gary as well. We're off down to Cheltenham as the Cheltenham Festival's on, and we're going to be joined by none other than Jamie Neal. I'm going to be with him Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So me and Gary are going to be doing little vlogs with him. That'll be going up on Patreon, giving you the inside of Cheltenham tips. And with him being a jockey, I've been to Cheltenham with him before. He's always in and out with the jockeys and the trainers and the owners. So hopefully we'll get some winners. So if you like having a little flutter, sign up on Patreon. Right, let's get into what's been a mad week of sport, and it looks to be a massive weekend of sport. Should we just start with the mad one that broke today, or should we kind of finish on that? What do you want to do? Should we finish strong on footy, finish strong on boxing, or what?
Let's start with, we always finish with footy. Let's start with footy.
Want to start with footy?
Yeah,
Okay, let's start with last weekend then. So maybe I know you are going to disagree. I don't think there was that much controversy last weekend. I think a lot was made out of Liverpool's goal. Like, a lot. For something that was, all right. Honestly, I'd understand it
When
more.
have you seen that happen before? I haven't seen that happen before. And I have not seen that happen before.
It's one of those, though. If that happens in the 10th minute, I don't think it's a big deal.
But it's even more significant, isn't it, though? You're right. It's probably not as big it's probably not even as big a deal if someone scores in the 10th minute, but at that time of the game, you've got to be extra vigilant as to giving the other team an advantage, haven't you?
100%. I'm not saying it's like I'm not saying the referee was happy days. I'm not that deluded.
You've got to. I mean, look. I guess the two. I'm looking at it from my lens. You're looking at it from your lens. If it was against you, you'd be absolutely raging, wouldn't you?
Do you know what I'd be more raging at? And this is my argument. It wasn't like that happened and then it was a long ball and a goal within 10 seconds. There was a good 2.5 minutes. The ball went out of play 2 or 3 times. It's like, come on, a little bit of injustice, but
yeah,
like,
all right. No, it's not like you. And I'd say that straight away. It's not like you didn't create a good goal. It was a good goal. It was well, a carved out goal. Good ball, good finish. So yeah, I'm nothing against that. It's just two teams that are fighting at the critical ends of the table. that was a mid-table clash, you'd be like, oh, whatever, you know, it is what it is. But Forest, you know, with a pending points deduction, are probably going to be in the relegation zone. Hughes are obviously fighting for the title. It's a huge goal.
Listen, it was a huge goal, and I think...
And a huge mistake. And anyone in the officiating circles, you know, obviously Clattenburg working for Forest, which again we'll talk about in a minute. Mike Dean, who obviously works for Sky or whatever, he or BT is it? He turned around and said, "Look, that's a poor error. Like you just don't get them things wrong."
Yeah, no, of course, again, but I just thought the carry on afterwards, like, come on.
Oh yeah,
did you see the Forest
the carry on from Forest, the fans and the owner was.
The video that was circling as well, and the kid
the mascot's getting like attacked and all that.
I just thought that was a bit much. But onto the actual footy, I mean, you talk about a big goal. I don't want to say, oh, it's nailed on, we're going to win the league, but it's those type of moments where you know you do gather momentum and you think, wow, is this meant to be? I thought that fella Nunez again, you know, Captain Chaos. It's one of them. Again, whether he's scoring, whether he's missing 3 or 4 chances a game, I don't think any Liverpool fan actually cares, because if he's on that pitch, something's happening.
Causing problems, yeah.
Something is happening, and I think that's what, you know, listen, every Liverpool fan would want him to score more, of course, but if he's just getting in the mix and doing what he's doing, and somehow we're scoring, whether it's bouncing off 3 defenders and going in, I don't think anyone cares. Just get him on the pitch.
Sometimes the same can be said about Haaland, though. You mean it's probably been under the microscope a bit more in recent weeks because City have maybe been finding it harder to get over the line. They've been scoring late goals, haven't they? But he's missing a lot of chances, and he does generally miss a lot of chances.
He had a big miss in the first half of the derby last week, where it was like should have been a nailed on goal. Now if the game doesn't go the way that it goes, then there's more scrutiny on him.
He does miss a lot of chances at the Etihad as well, where he missed a lot of chances and he didn't end up getting the results. But yeah, I mean, obviously the comparisons were made, weren't they? I think it looked a bit foolish at the time, or certainly at the end of the season when you looked at the goals tallies at the start of the last season. But you know, they both come in for big fees, didn't they? One with a huge reputation, Haaland. Nunez with a reputation, but maybe coming from a league, or certainly coming from a league that's got, you know, a lower level of opposition. But you know, you watch that Charity Shield, whatever, 18 months ago, and looked like it was maybe going to be the other way around. But I think they're both proven to be, you know,
they're both quality, aren't they?
Forwards, aren't they?
I think that's what's been. I wouldn't say it's held them back too much, but I think that's what's given us critics the fact that Liverpool and Man City going toe to toe. They both get a big striker in, both similar fees, and one's gone on and one hasn't. I think that's the issue that we've got with him, but I don't think any Liverpool fan are complaining too much about him.
And in fairness, even though, like, you know, you've been a supporter of him, I think a lot of Liverpool fans have. No one really is comparing him to Haaland. I've just compared him because it's, you know, he did at the start, and it was like.
I think the media did, didn't they?
Yeah. I mean, you got a bit carried away, I think, after that Charity Shield as well. But I think once it settled down, I think you're all like, listen, there's levels.
Yeah.
But I think from a performance point of view and a contribution point of view, and I'd probably say, I think from the goal contribution point of view, they're probably close to neck and neck.
Well, he's every 90 minutes, goal or assist every 90 minutes, and I think that's just...
It's as good as you can ask for, isn't it?
Yeah. Just sticking on that Liverpool-Man City rivalry at the minute, then City obviously dispatched the Man United with just... It was just depressing on it to watch. I think as a Liverpool fan, as you're looking at the fixtures and you're thinking, City have got to play United, I think they've got to go away to Spurs, they've got to come to Anfield, they've got to play Villa. You're thinking, where are they going to drop points? Ordinarily, you'd think a derby, they might drop points, but I think Man United with 8-1, I think. That
goal was almost the worst thing that could happen, I thought. In a way,
a false hope.
Yeah, not false hope. It just gave them something to really defend. I'm not saying 0-0 isn't something to defend, but I think when you've scored, if you're the rivals and obviously the country distance behind City at the moment, they get themselves in front and think, my God, we could nick something here.
Yeah.
And that was the worst thing that could have happened in a way, because it just allowed City to just...
I don't think they had the belief to get a second, did they? It was almost, he was shocked that they actually went 1-0 up.
I know, and it was almost because the goal was such a worldie. It wasn't like they'd, you know, carved City open and thought, we can do this again. It was just like, he's not doing that again, is he?
No.
Not doing that twice.
Yeah. It's just, we can't believe our luck, and we can't replicate what's just happened.
Even though they just were all over them from the word go, when it got to like the 60th minute, I was thinking, never know. It might just start to.
Nah,
but
I had no hope whatsoever.
I think it was more a reflection, though, as I've just said, on how far Man United are behind now. I mean, they pretty much had their strongest team out there the other day, and it was...
You can't be starting Johnny Evans at centre-back in a Manchester derby in 2024. Like.
No, agreed. But, you know, they had Varane in there, they had Casemiro in there, obviously Fernandes played, Rashford was up front. Apart from Haaland, and again, United fans will say, look, Haaland's really important to us, but...
I like him.
I like him, yeah. I like him, but, you know, when you're having such you know, hardly any possession, doesn't matter who's up front.
No.
That wouldn't have made a difference. I think some of the home games, but again, going back to it, I thought United's attitude was pathetic.
Well, this stat that you've mentioned here, it's City had more shots than United's possession percentage.
Yeah, City had 27 shots, Man United had 26% possession.
That is embarrassing,
That's
isn't it?
really embarrassing. And again, it's a derby, and you wouldn't be surprised maybe to see that Everton Liverpool, but Man United and Man City, a team who've won, you know, more Premier League titles than anyone, and City obviously for years in the shadows of Man United. How have they fell so far behind?
Yeah, no, it's absolutely madness, and I think if you've seen the overlap this week with Solskjaer, that's a brilliant watch, and I think it says so much about where United are. I think the most shocking thing about that the most shocking thing Solskjaer said was the bit where he said there was players that turned round and kind of got the message back to him via coaches saying, I don't want to be captain today.
Yeah.
I mean, talk about playing for it all, you know, aspirations of playing at the highest level and taking, you know, playing in front of the big stadiums, getting the big wages, playing in the big matches, taking the big responsibility. And then you've got players going, hey, I don't fancy this today, you know, do you want to be captain? I think that says everything about where United are. Yeah,
the mentality of the players, the lack of characters they've got in the dressing room and in the football club in general. And I think, again, it needs a complete overhaul, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You know, there's you know, rumours about, obviously not rumours, I think Ten Hag, it's probably fair to say, will probably go at the end of the season. But I think they're saying Jim Ratcliffe's apparently saying he's going to just get rid of all the staff and just go and start again.
Well, going on Ten Hag's kind of tenure's gone so far, and listening to Solskjaer, there's not. It's almost as like a hidden poison in that dressing room, and no matter who they get in, this poison's kind of staying.
And that's what I mean. So if you get that perception as a new, not an owner, but someone who at an exec level, aside from going around and interrogating every person, you just have to just gut the place, don't you, and go. Yeah. It's like if you've got, you know, I don't know, something in your house or something, you know what I mean? You've got some kind of
mould.
Yeah, and some moulds in your house, and you think, wait, you've fixed all the cracks, but it still keeps coming back. You just have to go back to the brick, don't you?
Yeah.
And just go, right, we're just going to have to start again.
No, it's so true.
If you've got the resources to do that, which he has and Man United have. So,
I just, as a United fan, I mean, if you turn around, if let's just say, you know, you just get relegated, and then Sean Dyche comes out and says, yeah, I went round the dressing room and no one wanted to be captain, you'd be gutted as a fan, wouldn't you? You'd just be like, what are you even fighting for?
And that's what I was gonna. I mean, Rashford's one of the players, isn't he, who's come under scrutiny from the Man United fan. Not scrutiny, come under a bit more pressure. And I think previously he'd been someone who the fans looked at and thought, you know, you're a proper man. But even he's turned his back somewhat on the club, hasn't he, in terms of his behaviour and his conduct. And
he's done a lot of jogging in games that I've seen, you know, like allowing players just to like run past them and coast past them, because he's thinking, well, I'm not a defender, I'm just in here as a number to kind of allow play or try and get teams to break me down, but I'm not going to start tackling and putting challenges in because I need my legs to go further forward.
As a local lad, you just can't.
You can't be letting that happen to your team.
No. And listen, if Ten Hag kind of is replaced, talk there, and you said you did it today about Southgate being on the shortlist. I mean, as a Liverpool fan, I don't know whether that's a good or a bad thing. I mean, I actually, you know, doing the old name drop, which I like to do now and again. When I've met him and worked with him, what a boss fella, and like what an insightful fella. You know, sit down, have a coffee with him. It was like,
he's a nice fella though. Like I've met him a few times on courses and stuff at St George's Park, and he's a nice fella. Dead unassuming, really not quiet, but you know, very careful about his words and. Again, very polite, just too nice, I think. You know, I'm not saying they need a big hard man to go in and start punching walls and whatever, but I don't know. I just think you need to have a presence about you at that club. Do you know what I mean? And I don't even think for England he's got that presence. I think he's at times can be a bit weak.
I felt he did have a presence about him when I met him, though. I was impressed by him. I know what you mean. He's not a big character like the likes of Guardiola or Klopp, is he? But
he is someone who I know what you mean. When he speaks, you listen.
Yeah.
But I just think that's, he's the England manager. You're like, you're in that type of presence. That said, the reason I mentioned to put it in the notes, I think it makes sense.
Yeah.
Dan Ashworth appointed him as the 21s coach when he was head of performance at the FA.
Dan Ashworth, the one again from Newcastle.
Yeah. So he'll be someone who Dan Ashworth will rate highly and has got a good relationship with. Dan Ashworth, apparently, I'm not sure if he went in. I think he maybe got... Yeah, he brought Eddie Howe in again. He liked British coaches. So it wouldn't surprise me if they went for him.
And he's managed the big players, hasn't he?
Yeah, and look, you've got to say that. There's not many more jobs in world football that have got more pressure than the England job. The media are ruthless, aren't they? And there's bigger managers, more high-profile managers, and like Capello, who failed. And I'm not saying he's been a success. However, apart from Sir Alf Ramsey, nobody's been more successful as England manager than him. So,
well, the most successful World Cup they had was when they got to the semi-final, got beat by Croatia. It was after I'd done a motivational tour for them. That being said,
they're going to recruit you as well, are they?
But
imagine you and a United try.
If the price is right, lad, if the price is right. But how interesting will it be if we have this conversation in 6 months' time and England have just won the Euros? Then it's becoming like, wow, he's got to be a United manager.
Yeah, the stock goes through the roof, doesn't it?
I think he can add a few more zeros to his pay pack as well. Yeah, one to look out for. Coming on to the game this week, then obviously Man City and Liverpool. Trent has started stoking the fire a little bit, talking about City
trophies mean more.
Yes, City have won more trophies. They've been more successful, but the trophies Liverpool have won more to our fans. It'd be interesting to hear your take on it, as obviously you're not a fan of either Man City or Liverpool. Me with me red hat on, I think he's totally right, because I think if you look at someone like Liverpool, Arsenal, even Spurs, Villa now, basically any team apart from Chelsea or Man City, every team's got that story where we've developed a young player, we've had to sell him, we've done a bit of wheeling and dealing, blah blah blah. Then that's a great success story. Chelsea and City, no matter what way you try and build it up, have kind of cheated their way, albeit 115 charges pending. What they've done is impossible, and the reason I say that, and I will double down and argue till the cows come home. When Man City won their first league, right, Liverpool were being managed by Roy Hodgson. Okay? City won their first league because of the owners that have come in and pumped millions and millions and millions of pounds in. And over the next 10 or 15 years, they've won countless Premier Leagues and one Champions League, right? But they've started there, right? Liverpool at that point had Roy Hodgson in charge, right?
It was your fault, though.
Yeah, no, yeah.
It wasn't like you had to take Roy Hodgson. You chose to appoint him.
Of course, but that's the state of the club, right?
Yeah.
No big crazy, Middle East investment comes in throwing billions at it. We're getting another coach in, Brendan Rodgers. Try that out, doesn't quite work. Get a superstar like Luis Suarez from Amsterdam for it.
These aren't paupers, mate. Like, I know what you're getting at here, and I do actually agree. Even though it's it's tongue in cheek, I do agree with what he's saying, and I'll come on to like my comparison. But we're not talking about a club here
of course not.
You're on your asses.
Of course not. But the wheeling and dealing Liverpool have done in these past 10 or 15 years, with the likes of finding a gem like Suarez, plucking him from Ajax, he goes on to Barca, getting the likes of Coutinho in, sending him on to Barca, and then bringing in the likes of Alisson and Van Dijk. The wheeling and dealing that have been done, trying coaches like Rodgers not quite working, getting Klopp in, that team Klopp inherited, and then going on and on. Compare that to how City have done it. It's night and day, and I think that's what Trent's getting at. Where the clubs have both been in the last 10 or 15 years to now, it does mean more to Liverpool because of what we've seen 10 or 15 years ago. Yeah,
I think he's spot on. I don't think I can't compare. I'm not going to allow you the chance to have me on this. I can't compare it because we haven't won a trophy since 1995. But what I can compare it to is just generally week to week in results. So, for instance, if you win at Anfield and you win 2-0 at Arsenal, it'll be like, oh yeah, it's another win for us. We beat Arsenal 2-0 at Goodison or whatever on a Wednesday night. It's a massive win for us. You could argue that means more to us. A victory at times against teams can mean more to us. A game again, that might be, you know, a standard, you know, daily thing for you or a weekly thing for you can mean more to us. So it's the same principle.
And that's fair.
It's the same principle at the top level, and equally, just from a human point of view, it's the same with life in general. So if you're a millionaire and I'm skint, and I have a bit of a win, like, you know, I done that treble and sixfold at the weekend, and I win it, and you win the same amount, it means more to me than you, because you don't need it.
No,
and,
of course,
and the argument to them is they don't need it because they know they're going to get more, because they're at the top and there's no sign of them dropping from the top because they've got so much wealth and so much resource, whereas you could argue, don't know when the next barren period's going to be, you know, when it goes back to the, you know, 90s and whatever.
I think the way it's a good analogy what you've said there. I think the other analogy is, you know, you've left school at 16 with no GCSEs. You know, you're one of those kids in school that are going to, you know, your mum or dad are going to Costco buying you a big load of sweets, you're putting them into 10p bags and selling them. You're that kind of wheeler dealer kid, Del Boy. You start your first business, 16, it fails. Start another business, it fails. But then slowly, surely, you get one and it works. And then you're 40 and you're worth 100 mil because you've had those ups and downs, right? I've not done fuck all my life.
Silver spoon.
And then at 40, I win the lottery.
Yeah.
And I get me millions.
I was gonna
it's the same thing. It's like, who's going to appreciate that 100 mil more? Someone like you who's wheeled and dealed since he was 16, or me. I've just cracked on, done fuck all with my life, and then win the Euro Millions. And I think that's the analogy. And what Trent's getting at.
I mean, initially, I think that fella's going to be amazed up.
Lad, but look at lottery winners.
Yeah. No, you're right.
Compared to millionaires I know who've grafted all their life.
No, it's true.
Do you know? And I just think that's the analogy Trent's getting at, and I think he's bang on. And I listen to a few City fans on the radio, and they can say what they want. That is the analogy. I mean,
City. That says, and I know what you're saying here, but City aren't the person who you know. City fans are not the person you're talking about in the analogy who just mucked about. They've tried the best, and they've been in League One. They went down to League One.
Them fans are different, those fans are different.
Yeah, so
but this new generation of fans,
they're the fans who are going to be like, you're messing, you aren't you? Like we've been in League One. What do you know about going down? So yeah, I know what you're saying. To when you get to that position, however,
I think it's more. I think the comparison's more in comparison to the modern teams now. So it's more like this squad now, or our fans right now, or our fans over the last 5 years. You're spot on about the League One and Championship stuff, defo. But I think it's more about the fact that City can do what teams like United and Chelsea used to be able to do, which was buy some players for big money, and they don't work out, but it's not the end of the world. Whereas, even though Liverpool are still financially in a better place than most, it's still a bigger risk making those big signings, and it's probably scrutinised more by like the people higher up to get certain signings over the line, and to not like break the bank for certain signings, because, you know, if this doesn't work out, like maybe a Caicedo or something like that at the moment, then it's like, where could that money have gone?
I was going to say, for you as a Blue, surely you'd get so much more satisfaction to know that your club is ran properly. The scouting departments are finding these gems from nowhere. You've got a manager who turns them into absolute ballers, then you're selling him for like 60 million profit, and you're buying someone else, and that would feel so much better than if someone just comes in and goes,
what I was going to say, without coming on to us, because I don't think it's about us here, but it's obviously one of the big factors why your victory the other week meant so much, because it was your kids who kind of got your own players. And that's why I was saying, and obviously me passionate rant last week about clubs backing academy players more and backing their own product. However, again, that was something he also touched on, is to say it means more to our fans because they can see their own on the pitch and they're getting over the line. Oh, Phil Foden's there, but apart from that, you know, you're struggling, aren't you? Rico Williams, arguably, Rico Lewis. But there's not many that are on the pitch and that are contributing at the moment to City's successes there.
No. So this game this weekend is going to be massive. I'm a little nervous. Without sounding defeatist, I'd take a draw, just because of the players that we're still missing.
That's not a defeat, a draw. It's okay.
It's defeatist though, isn't it? Do you know what I mean?
Negative.
It's negative then. It's negative. Listen, I think it is defeatist when you think with Liverpool. You know, we should, anyone at home, we should be winning. So. And I think, but at this point though, knowing that City have got to play Arsenal and then Villa in the next two games.
No, you mean,
I think a draw would be okay.
Not allowing them to steal a march on you is probably more important, isn't it?
And I think the scary thing is about this week, we've got, obviously, Liverpool actually playing right now as we're recording. Take that out the way. We've got City, the second leg of the Europa League, and then United in the FA Cup. I mean, what a big week this is, and I'm just a bit... If we were going to drop points or not get the victory in any of those 3 games, I'd probably say this City one, because I think this City team will slip up again. I'd rather go through in the Europa League, go through in the FA Cup, and still be in with a chance of the Prem. Hence why I'd take a draw on Sunday.
I just think psychologically, if they get ahead of us, and beat us at Anfield and get ahead of us, I think that'll really, really hurt.
But
I think that'll take the stuffing out. If they win, I reckon that'll take the stuffing out of some of our players, not all of them.
Yeah,
but some of our players that are probably running on fumes and running on adrenaline, that might just take a little bit out of them.
Oh, totally. It's massive. I mean, I can't wait. Obviously, me and you'll be there much for it. I think the atmosphere will be electric. It's going to be obviously one of the biggest games of the season, if not the biggest so far.
It's the biggest game of the season, yeah.
Yeah, it's exciting. I cannot wait for it, but I'd just be so more excited if we had everyone fit and flying.
While we are on it, and obviously it's not in the notes, but I thought I'd just throw it in while we're on the subject. The start of the season, we obviously done our predictions. I predicted City, Arsenal, Liverpool. We're not talking about Arsenal right now.
No.
Should we be talking about that? Like, I said it. Every time you said it, the bottlers, blah, blah, blah. I've went, no, and they just, they're quiet. And I say quietly going, they're smashing teams at the moment. Yeah. And the goals are coming from everywhere.
It's so weird you say that, because I know, like, it's only, I think it was last weekend or midweek when they won like 7-0, like, they broke a record, didn't they?
Yeah, Sheffield United.
Three games away, they scored 5
more
or
than 5, yeah.
It was only then I thought, probably should listen to Gary a bit more. They are actually...
Well, it's not about me. It's quite obvious that they are...
But
you look at the consistency now that they've had over the last 2 years. And I think a lot of Arsenal fans you speak to tell you that if they wouldn't have lost, what's his name, the centre-back, in March last year. Saliba. They were like, listen, if we wouldn't have lost Saliba last year, we may well have won the league last year. Yeah, no,
listen, they've definitely made me take note, and I have been a little bit more, are they going to get brushed away? But my hope is, again, in this, if we can draw with City and crack on, City got to play Arsenal a week later, and if Arsenal then can do something, I think where my mindset is, and I think most Reds, I don't know if you'll agree, Musk, I'd rather go toe to toe with Arsenal than I would with City.
Yeah, it's fair enough.
And I think that's why I've just been a little bit, don't worry about them, just because you've just seen that run that City can do. We've not seen Arsenal do that run yet, have we?
I'll ask you both a question then. You're obviously talking as you know, as you would do, and I would do if I was a Liverpool fan, about the quadruple at the moment. What type of season would that be? Would it be for you if you ends up finishing 3rd and didn't win the Europa League
or the FA Cup?
I
think finishing...
All right, okay, the FA Cup and the League Cup, but you just finish 3rd and don't win the Europa League. I don't even get to the final.
Yeah, I don't think it'd be a massive... that's, a great question. I was going to say, I don't think it'd be a massive underachievement.
It's not beyond the realms of possibility. Arsenal, as I say, are there. They're right on your coattails as well as City. It only needs a City win at Anfield and maybe Arsenal to get a result against City and maybe use to lose a couple.
We played Bayer Leverkusen in the quarters, get knocked out. United beat us, and then before you know, no, it's a mad one. I think, listen, it'd be massively disappointing, but I think, I don't want to speak for all Liverpool fans, but I think Liverpool fans would be more disappointed for Klopp rather than be disappointed as a club. Just because it's like I think most football fans, apart from Evertonians and Manx, want Klopp to kind of go out on a fairy tale of winning the league.
No, more people hate Klopp than just them two set of fans. Like,
without doubt.
Do you reckon?
Yeah. Without doubt.
Mate, you see on Twitter, mate, they hate him.
I think it's more that as much as they hate yous as
I think in terms of like what you've just been saying, Gary, if you'd asked us at the start of the season, you'd be like, you know what, this team are like properly transitioning. You can get 2 trophies out of it, finish 3rd, we're all right with that. I think it's just how the games have gone. We've probably performed better than expected, or overperformed, if you want to say. 100%. That it's got us in this position to then be like, we can get the quadruple, but it's more realistic that we don't.
The quadruple's not happening. But I'd take the league. Just give me the league and I'm happy.
Well, the reason I asked that is, again, I'm not saying like, whatever, I'm right or whatever, but I did genuinely think that was going to be the top 3 this season, and I didn't think there was going to be much between us, but I did think that Arsenal would be up there again, and I did think you would finish 3rd out of the 3. I still don't think just because of the fact that, again, like Muskie said, there's a lot of your players that are running on fumes. A lot of them are really being pushed. You're bringing players back early, probably just to try and make sure that you get results in big games. I still don't think it's... I still think that's the top three.
I think my delusion, I think, is a lot down to I love a fairy tale. Like, I love it. It all works out in the end. That's one of my favourite sayings in life. You know, I'm a pretty chilled person.
I'm an Everton fan, so I'm not of that.
Honestly, my nan used to always say it always works out in the end. And I'm a pretty optimistic person, and I just think there's going to be some sort of, you know, fairy tale ending for Klopp. That's what I'm basing my analogy on, basically.
Fair enough, yeah.
So I think it's going to be a close game. Really close game. The one point that you actually made to make me a little bit more negative is there's still no news of a sporting director.
Yeah, I mean, obviously use it.
I think with Liverpool, sorry to cut you off, we've always done stuff that I think behind. Like, I always give the example of Fabinho that came out of nowhere.
I know, but a sporting director, you don't want that to come out of nowhere. It should be something that's like, look, he's our man. I mean, I don't think an appointment like that comes out of nowhere. I think there's too many interactions that a sporting director has to have with people for it to not come from somewhere. Like, if you're going to come in and be a director,
they're trying to get Michael Edwards back, aren't they? That's the big one. They're trying to like throw everything at him to get him back.
Yeah, listen,
some capacity.
If you get him back, it doesn't have to be a huge project for them to get to know the club. But if you're bringing a sporting director in, they almost need to know the club top to bottom to be effective in order to make effective decisions. If Michael Edwards comes in, it's different because he knows the furniture. But yeah, I think, we've been having chats in our group around the whole Xabi Alonso situation. You believe in on good authority he's going to Liverpool.
Got some info.
I believe he's not.
Okay, let me just throw this little spanner in the works for Bayern Munich.
I'm not saying Bayern Munich. I just said I don't believe he's going to Liverpool.
Do you know who Xabi Alonso's agent is?
No.
Scouser.
So.
So what?
Is that what your inside scoop is?
Yeah, I found out he's a Scouser this week.
Oh my god.
Money talks, though, lad.
You heard it on the Legged podcast. I'm telling you now, it's done. I reckon it's done. It's done. There's too many things. I think it's done.
Too many things, like what?
I'm not going to reveal my source. I'm not revealing my source, but it's on good authority. It's done.
Fucking brown sauce, that means.
Honestly, it's done. You've heard it is done. To the point, I want to start throwing a few quid on it daily.
Okay, go for it.
The odds are quite short, though, to be fair. Like.
Yeah.
What is the 7 to 10? I think last when I started putting them on, I've been putting like a £5 a day.
Oh, you've already started?
Oh yeah. Been putting like a £5 a day. Anytime I win a few quid.
£5 a day.
But
to be fair, though, that's what you did for England that time, and that didn't work.
No, well, it's 100 days till Euros, by the way. So my other little plan is, again, if for anyone who likes a little bet or you got a few quid, just a couple of quid a day on England to win the Euros. You got 100 days there of putting them on. If you get them at 4 to 1, 2 quid a day, turn it into 8 quid in 6 months.
Just while we're on that one, I didn't know we were going to go there, but I heard a stat before on the way to the podcast, so I thought you may have been listening to TalkSport and heard the same thing. Currently, let me get this right, the top 4 players in the Champions League that have contributed goals, i.e. assists or scored, are Harry Kane,
Bellingham,
Phil Foden, Bukayo Saka and Jude Bellingham.
I think we've got a great chance.
The top 4.
We've got a great chance. I think we'll win the Euros.
How good's that top 4 though when you think about it and you put it that way? Like Harry Kane, Bellingham behind him and Saka and Foden.
Yeah.
Clearly 4 of the most informed players.
And the fact that 3 of them are like under 25 is very good.
I think as well, if we just, we're going to finish off now talking about Liverpool, but you look at Liverpool's season, why they've been so good is because they've had a strike force that I think we've got 5 players who've scored all over 10, I think. That's what England have got. They might not be great at the back or maybe not the best managed team or the best transition team.
But you're not relying on Wayne Rooney.
No, they've got a lot of attacking options, haven't they, England, and I think that's why they'll win it.
Also behind them as well, Declan Rice is chipping in with goals for Arsenal this season as well. He's become a bit more of a...
I think Rice, Bellingham...
Just hope he doesn't play Calvin Phillips. My God.
Listen, Rice, Bellingham and Foden will just rip that up.
But who's going to play alongside Rice then in that midfield?
I'd literally go a bit gung-go. I'd have Rice, Foden, Saka and Bellingham, and I'd have Kane up front.
That's not enough players though, is it?
Yeah, no, you saw your defence out. I'd even play 5 at the back if you want and have a couple of wing-backs, but I'd make sure Kane, Saka, Bellingham, Foden and Rice were all starting
they've
every
all got
game.
to play no matter what, yeah.
Those 5, yeah.
Sorry. Digress
So, yeah.
there because I could see Everton coming up, so I was just trying to waste some time.
On Bellingham, did you see when he called Mason Greenwood a rapist? He's been let off for it.
Yeah. Well, it was.
I don't know what they could have done to him. Like,
but exactly, because
don't call him a racist.
It's not defamation, is it? Because
no, it's not,
you know,
and
he didn't publicly say it.
No,
he just mouthed it to him.
Yeah.
People have said worse on a football pitch and got away with it. Like,
yeah. I think it would have been a big news story in the football world if Bellingham would have got a 3-game ban for saying you're rapist, and the amount of racist stuff that goes on that just goes, you know, completely unnoticed.
It just gets left, yeah.
So anyway, he's got let off for it. Another player who's seemingly a bit of a mad story. This Sam Kerr, the Australian Chelsea forward. She's been charged. This incident happened over a year ago.
I know, yeah.
She's been charged with calling a policeman a stupid white bastard. And now obviously it's racially because it says white and stuff. It's madness, but yeah, don't know where. It's obviously not what the women's game wanted, or isn't it mad? Chelsea have always got something racist going on, haven't they, Chelsea?
Especially with Sam Kerr being like one of the top stars
girl,
of the women's game, like.
So
that's why we haven't heard of it, because PR people everywhere, whether it's from a country, whether it's from FIFA themselves, everyone will have kept that as quiet as possible until they have to let it be released.
Mate, we'll just get round the other footy stories before we finish on the Mighty Blues. Mad story with Pogba. Obviously, we were talking last week about we thought his ban was a bit harsh. The doctor. So this all come from. He's been basically taking my testosterone injections in Miami with his
Your
doctor.
actual injections?
Not my actual one. Well, it might be. Who knows? But listen, Juve have got a long-standing history with dodgy doctors, and basically one of the doctors I've been seeing him back when he got nicked. He's kind of still in and amongst it now. They've kind of stayed loyal to him, and now he's there now, and they've kind of almost sided a little bit with the doctor. It's mad. So the report I read in The Athletic, it was so Juventus retained a medical professional who was at the heart of the case that implicated the Champions League team of Conte, Zidane and Deschamps. So back then, when it was all a bit
and
cloak and dagger,
and all that was saying like these are all up to something.
He's still there now.
Wow.
Now you think they'd like to distance themselves away from it and be like, you know, but apparently not. So I mean, you
can only imagine in that case though that the doctor had more on the club than the club has on the doctor. Yeah. So they had to keep him because it was like, if we don't keep him, he's just going to out us.
He's just, which is mad, innit? I don't think there's any other footy stories, mate. I think we might have to just finish on the Blues.
Yeah, what about the Foden thing?
Oh, yeah, I mean, should we finish on that?
Yeah,
go ahead.
I
want to get a comment, yeah.
Yeah, go on.
Something that could come up before we start the show, but I think it's a good little one to finish on, maybe.
So, where do you want to start, mate? I'll let you kind of run with it then, because the one I was going to say, it always seems to be off the field stuff when I talk about Everton at the moment. The big one I saw was they've just so London Lions women's basketball team have just been told that they won't be competing next season because basically the partners 777 aren't really backing it. They pull them out of it. And I think if you're
that's right.
Women's
sorry, yeah, I didn't say that.
There might be some.
There's not much money in women's basketball. Unfortunately, is that?
No, but you make like a joke, but actual serious point. It's to fund it. Who are they called? The London Lions women's basketball team. It says basically the first time ever they could compete in Europe. It's the first time ever become the British outfit to reach the last four of the Euro Cup. So it's not been done before. I'm not a businessman. I'm not a money man. I'm not a basketball man. But I'm guessing it can't take that much extra funding to go on.
Sort them out, mate.
Do you know what I mean? And the fact that 777 have pulled back from it, surely that's just more warning signs. That's not.
Yeah, look, I said last week, I don't think it's the best news that we could have if the takeover went through, despite the fact we owe them money. I'd rather owe them money and pay it off than them to be our owners and owe them money. So I'm not going to sit here and say that that's amazing news. And
you seem very chilled on the whole 777. Every time I ask you on it, you just seem really like, listen, it's one of them. You don't seem that bothered at all.
I'm bothered, but I don't think there's enough certainty around either side of it to be really like, you know, until they are announced as our owners and we you know we're sure of what the actual due diligence that took place and what the real situation. There's a lot of, you know, there's a lot of rumours, isn't there? And you don't really know the truth. So I prefer not to just kind of get caught up in that because it's been enough for it anyway. But yeah, there's no doubt in my mind, you know, and anyone's mind really, that they're not whiter than white, and they're certainly not a preferred buyer. There's definitely better buyers out there. But again, I just retain the thing. I think if we didn't have the new stadium and we were still where we were, and there was nothing else on the horizon, I'd be a lot more, you know, worried about it. But I think
it's your wild card, isn't it? The new stadium.
We've been in worse positions, certainly in the early 90s under Peter Johnson, etc. We were in much worse positions as a club than we are now.
There's rumours that Usmanov's funds have been unfrozen.
That is a rumour, and I want to mention the podcast because it's not like, you know, we're not Sky Sports, are we? So we can pretty much say what we want, pretty much. But there's been a rumour doing the rounds on social media and various, you know, WhatsApp groups and whatever, that there's been there's been appeals going on to the European, you know, whatever, court of, you know, law or whatever. He's been making it constantly, saying, look, you know, and the rumour is that they're going to rule in the next few days that Usmanov's funds can be released.
Surely Usmanov, though, is not going to be in the biggest rush ever to start going, my funds
no,
are now
it's
unfrozen.
Not, but it's
there you go.
It's Mashiri's money as well, though, isn't it? Mashiri's money was Usmanov's money.
But either way...
It's still an asset there. We've got a stadium that's pretty much built. It's not a bad time to go, well, let's just come in, pay that 300 million back to 777. We've got a big stadium there we've got now. Now we've suddenly got actually something that's worth something.
I just don't think, regardless of what happens with his money, froze or unfroze, he's going to be in a rush to start throwing money at Everton.
But at the moment, they're not going to get anything for the club.
I honestly think...
So why would you not... If you're a businessman, right, and you own loads of property or something, and you know you had no money and you're facing the bank repossessing your property, which is pretty much what this is. Someone's coming in, just going to take the club off you, and you've pumped 500-600 million out of it into it, and you think you can, you know, you suddenly get some dough, and you think I can throw 100 grand at them, finish the flats, and then sell them on. Why wouldn't you do that?
I get that. Yeah, you would, but also it's not as if he's, you know, skinned. And I also think sometimes in life you just go, you know what, fucking get rid of that, just forget about it, take the hit and just move on.
Oh no, and I'm not saying that it mean. Look, one, there might not be any truth in it, and two, if there is truth in it, doesn't mean to say that he's gonna. But yeah, I think it. Yeah, I think, given the amount of money he's got, and given the fact that there's an easier chance of just going, look, let's pay that debt off. And make sure when we get that stadium, let's make the club look a lot shinier, and let's sell it on for a pretty penny then. You don't have to start coming back in and buying loads of players, and we can do that anyway, but it'd be interesting to see how that pans out. But obviously on the pitch, a bitterly disappointing defeat last week.
Davy Moyes strikes again, bigged him up all week, and what does he do?
He didn't do much himself, like.
He picked a team that tonked us 3-1, was it 3-0?
Yeah, 3-1 it was. They didn't tonk us. We were in front, didn't we? And just didn't do well enough when we were in front. We should have been 2-0 up. Should have been. We missed a penalty in the first half. Obviously, went in front in the end, and yeah, I just don't. I spoke about it at length on our podcast this week, and there's just something amiss at home. I'm not saying we've been amazing away from home, but. You know, our mid-table form is mid-table, if not better. We just can't. The players just can't seem to get a result at home. You know, I've even said on our podcast this week, I think there's a mentality issue with some of them players. That, you know, whether you blame the fans and go, look, they're getting on the case a little bit.
Are they as bad as, like, you know, the notorious as it was like a couple of years ago? Is that kind of toxic atmosphere?
No, it's not toxic, but there's a nervousness about it, and I think that. And I'm not gonna be critical of the fans. I'm one of them, obviously, but at times you can feel the tension. You know, you can feel it when a player gets a chance. It's not like it's like. You know what I mean? And you're not telling me there are 40,000 fans pretty much are all making that same. You can't feel it as a player, and it's, you know, Calvert-Lewin's obviously, you know, not been scoring. Beto's got a goal the weekend, but he missed a penalty. Missed another chance as well. Apart from that, McNeil's missed. They missed a lot of chances the weekend. Now the reason, or the one thing I wanted to point out from my perspective, and this is something I've said on our podcast, there's been it's probably a 50-50 split from the fans in terms of fans blaming the manager or fans blaming the players. I'm blaming the players. I believe there's not enough players in that dressing room who've got genuine Premier League quality. And when I say Premier, I'm not saying the Championship players, but I mean the quality of players that you would expect to be in the top half and the upper echelons of the Premier League, and players who regularly get goals at that level. We haven't got enough of them, and I think when you're playing in an environment, in an atmosphere at Goodison at the moment that's a nervy one, you need to have a cool demeanour about you in front of goal, and you need to have a bit of composure, and we haven't got many of them. And I again, look, I'm not saying the manager can't have an influence on that, and you know how many times you see it where one manager goes out, another one comes in, the players say, he just gives me so much confidence. There might be a little bit of that about it, but
more deep
he's putting the best team on the pitch. Invariably they're creating more chances than the opposition, and they're missing them. So like if we were watching Tower football at Goodison where we weren't scoring, weren't creating chances, didn't look like creating chances, I'd be like, the manager needs to go, or you need to do something, he needs to mix it up on the training ground. But we're creating chances. We've got one of the best defences in the league. We've kept more clean sheets than anyone in the league. That points to a manager who's got the team well drilled defensively, and we've got I think we're like 7th in the league from an XG point of view, so we're creating chances. The players aren't taking them. That's not on the manager. Now again, you could say, look, the manager needs to do more to improve confidence, but yeah, I'm in that camp of not probably believing it's that.
And the point you make, it's I get it, because it's frustrating, isn't it? Then as a fan, when you or as a manager, I guess, when you're like, look.
Well, he did. It's the first time. It was noticeable the first time after the game this week that he come out and criticised the forwards and said, I can't keep coming here after the game talking about XG and this, that and the other. Our forwards have got to start scoring. And he said, his words were, if I'm a forward in that team, I'm buzzing with the amount of chances I'm getting.
Do you know what you need, Musk? Nunez. Should the Blues need Nunez? We'll finish off on a nice one then that Musk put in the group before about squad numbers and the reasons.
Was Gary?
Was it you, Gary? Sorry.
I put the first one and it was Foden, wasn't it? Did I see him?
Yeah, so Foden's got his number.
It's a nice story, this, and then Muskie obviously built on it.
So yeah, his grandfather Ronnie sadly passed away at the age of 47, so he wears it. He's actually got a tattoo as well under his ear. That's why he wears the number 47. Bellingham got a similar story.
Just before you go past that, and again, like 47, he was a young player coming into the team, so you're thinking, that's normal. He got offered the number 10. I was like, no, I want to keep 47. But
I think his granddad as well, to be 47 and pass away, he's obviously not seen.
No.
The career he's won in ad, which is incredibly sad, isn't it, really? But he's obviously one of England's best.
Go on, sorry.
Bellingham, number 22. The story behind it, when he got Birmingham during his early days, the club told him that he did not need to limit himself to one role and that he could be a 4 holding midfielder, or an 8 box-to-box midfielder, or a 10 attacking midfielder, and play positions and play each position at the same level. And he's kind of took it from there, which I think, super confident. I was thinking
10, 8 and 4 is 22.
Yeah.
So he's all 3 of them.
Yeah.
It's quite brilliant, isn't it? Boss little. Yeah.
But then he goes to Real Madrid, and it's basically Zidane used to be 5. Zidane was Adidas. You're Adidas. You're Preds.
There's too much money on the line there.
Let's give you some money to change your mind on the 22 thing, mate.
I think the legacy as well. There's certain clubs that you go to. I think Man United's number 7 shirt's pretty iconic, innit? You look at Cantona, Beckham, Ronaldo. I think there's certain clubs that have got numbers and you're just like, wow. I think like Argentina, number 10.
Not as sentimental as the Foden one as well, but then Muskie obviously brought up a load of other ones as well.
Wait, can you remember the first time? I think it was Adriano used to have one and he put like a little plus in the middle. It was an Italian. It was in Serie A back in the days on Sunday.
Yeah.
Someone
1+8.
1+8.
Was that what it was?
Yeah. Quite a few people have done either 1+8 or 8+1. And I remember Ronaldo was 99 for one of his clubs because the 9 was being taken by someone else.
Yeah, it was Zamorano.
Yeah. So 18. You've got Van der Ven.
Van der Ven.
Tottenham centre back.
Was it? So he wears number 37. His mate passed away.
At 37, his mate passed away.
No, I think it was
his mate's favourite number.
Okay.
And I mean, it's when something like that, it's brilliant, isn't it? Not brilliant, but you know what I mean. Aussie Dealers 1982 World Cup. number one as it was.
Was he number one?
Was he?
Yeah.
I didn't know you're allowed to have number one. I was supposed
That's
you're
obviously
allowed.
an
Edgar Davids was number one, I think, when he played low in lower league.
Was he? Yeah.
I think because he wants to like set a trend of like it doesn't have to be a keeper. I think.
Barnett playing manager.
Yeah.
And I don't know whether you're winding us up here, Musk, but you reckon Bruno at Newcastle, he's number 5 because it was the same. I don't believe it. The same number as his dad's taxi.
No, I don't know what
number 5, but he's got the number something to his dad's taxi.
I'm not sure what his number is, but when I was reading up on these numbers, one of them was because his dad used to be a taxi driver, and that was his like taxi number.
That's a mad one. Yeah.
Yeah, so in the comments, any
mad
good
numbers
stories
that,
you've got of numbers, whether even in other sports as well.
I was just number 3, me, just because it was left back. It's nothing to do with anything else. Just number 3.
I was 8 or 4.
What number are you, Musk?
I'm 3, but I'm right back, just because I prefer 3 to 2.
Really?
Yeah. I used to be left back. I was 3, and then switched over to right back, but kept my number.
If I played right, because I either played right back or centre mid, so it was 8 or 4 centre mid. If I played right back, I'd wear 17.
Yeah,
because of Gerrard.
No, it was Andrei Kanchelskis actually.
Right,
17's my birthday as well, so yeah.
So was mine. What month?
August.
I'm June 17th. Right. We'll whiz through the other sporting stories. There's some belters here, but obviously the main one is the boxing news this week, which is fucking just mad, isn't it? So in snooker, it was the Riyadh. What are they calling it again? The
167.
The 167 Riyadh kind of tournament, whatever they had going on. No, they called it something as well, didn't they? The Riyadh.
I'll have it.
The Riyadh. It was the snooker masters, but it was something to do with Riyadh. Something. Ronnie was there in all his
regalia.
His Saudi rig out.
It's just called Riyadh Season World Masters.
Riyadh Season, yeah. So yeah, Ronnie was there. Obviously, Ronnie went on and won the tournament, as you'd expect. But I thought the big news was it was this whole
Golden Ball
177, is it? No, 167.
167, yeah.
So I actually looked into it, and John Higgins apparently nearly done it. I didn't watch any of it, but John Higgins nearly done it. So there's this golden ball that sits on the cushion, right? And
what?
yeah, so
the whole
apparently, yeah.
Frame?
No. So as you start playing, and
on that's outside the table.
No, on the table, like so at the back of the like. I'm trying to explain it for those who are just listening.
The ball end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The ball end, yeah. So that's the black end. Yeah.
No.
Oh, that's the top end. Yeah. So it stays on the cushion there, right?
Yeah. The top end.
The top end. Yeah. Where the D is.
Yeah.
Making hard work.
The ball cushion, it's called.
Is that what it's called? Yeah. Right. So the 167, the ball, the white, the golden ball stays at the ball end of the cushion, and then you start playing. Only when the maximum break, as in a 147 originally, is not available, then they take it away. But while the 147 is still up for grabs, that stays on it.
And when do you pass it? Anytime?
At the end.
So after the black?
At the end, yeah.
Wow.
For an extra 20, and then you get 800 grand.
And you get 400 grand.
I was 400, was he?
Or 394 grand it was. And John Higgins got to the yellow, and he fucked up a bit. But yeah, he nearly got a 167.
He missed the yellow on a 147.
Well, I don't think he missed it, but I don't think he was like best placed on it or something. I didn't watch it, I just read it. But he got to that.
That's devastating, man.
400 grand.
Wow.
Yeah, I know it says the Saudi organisers have now doubled it to 800 grand.
Yeah,
maybe because they realised how hard it was, maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, so...
Well, there was that debate, wasn't there? I say debate. I don't know where it was on.
It's not a debate. It's that's the hardest thing. I know what you're going to say. A 147 is the hardest thing to do in sport.
Oh, it is. Not in sport.
It is.
It was a 9's arse or a 147.
147. 100%.
Oh, it is, yeah. Without doubt.
I think it's harder than anything else.
Harder than anything in sport?
Yeah.
Anything?
If me and you stood there on a one of those pitch and putt things, whatever, driving it, one of us would get a hole in one with enough. In fact, it proved on YouTube, Barstool Sports.
I'm not saying, I didn't say a hole in one.
But I'm just saying one of the things people might listen and say, they had a driving range and he stood there for like a day and a half. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You ain't fluking a 147.
Yeah, no, you're not fluking a 9's arse though either.
But I think you could. In fact, again, there was another lad on YouTube who done it.
You just done a 9's arse.
Who knows on Instagram? And he done a 9's arse. Oh no, he might have done 8. TikTok, yeah.
You don't know what to believe on TikTok, like.
Either or, I'd argue nothing's harder than a 147.
Another one in the comments, tell us something you believe is harder than a 147.
What would you say?
You put me on the spot now, but I'm certain there's things in sport, in the whole of the world,
in fact, I've got
that's harder than a 147.
An Everton player scoring at the moment. That's probably a little bit harder.
Beto scores the weekend. Beto scores the weekend.
Consistently then. So that was the snooker there. So Ronnie took the spoilers there. Darts again. Premier League on again tonight.
Yeah, so I said last week I put me tips in. I said Humphreys had beat Michael Van Gerwen in the first match last week, and he did. He delivered. So if you were on Patreon, you could have got a good little bet on there. I also said that I thought Peter Wright had been improving. He was a very good price last week against Nathan Aspinall. He lost 6-5 narrowly, so close to a really decent double there. But Aspinall went on and won the night. So credit to Peter Wright. He pushed them closer than anyone did on the whole night. He's got a good chance this week as well. Peter Wright, he's playing Michael Smith, who's probably the most out of form top darts player at the moment. And he's a good price. I think he's like 2-1 to beat Michael Smith. I think it's the last of the quarterfinals. And also, Aspinall's a mad price to beat Littler. He won last week.
I see nice odds on any Littler to win.
Yeah, well, he's pretty much. He's 7-4 Aspinall to beat Littler. Yeah. He won the night last week. He's playing well.
Littler effect's mad, innit?
I know, but he went out to Damon Heta in the UK Open,
on Sunday. That was
I
had a bet on it, bastard.
Yeah, I think that's a crazy price, to be honest. As I said last week, you can get really good value on those matches because anyone can beat anyone. In fairness, so you know, I'm not saying I'm master tipster here, but I always just look at the value and think, wow, why is that like 7-4? But I fancy Humphreys to win the night this week. He's 9-2, so I'll put those three in terms of 3 value bets that I think could go for this week. Probably just about get it before it gets on. Dimitri Van den Berg beat a big shock actually. Beat Humphreys in the final of the UK Open 11-10. It was a really good match. Van den Berg at one point was like 9-3 up or something like that. Yeah. And he got all the way back to like 10-all and he won the deciding leg. But it was a good little tournament. It was on terrestrial TV as well, ITV3.
The one big thing, obviously, we talk about every week now, but I think Luke Littler, for me, he has put darts on the map, personally. And the Premier League each Thursday, like, I'm going to bed on a Thursday, like, you know, seeing what's happening.
There was a kid in work today who literally said, I'll only watch it if he's on.
Yeah.
He's not bothered about it. Other kids that are actually properly into it and actually play each other and all that now. But one of the kids went, I'll only watch it if Luke Littler's on. Yeah.
So just a funny one on that as well, though, the UK Open. Michael Van Gerwen just said, nah, don't fancy it. Don't want to play in that.
He's a bit of a Ronnie O'Sullivan, he just can't be
arsed. He's like, nah.
You can. When you're at that level, you can just pick and choose, though,
I'm busy enough, yeah. Don't want to go in there.
Like I mentioned at the start of the show, me and Gary will be at Cheltenham next week. But 2 people who won't be there are Constitution Hill.
Not 2 people, 2 horses.
2 horses at Constitution Hill.
Are they coming with us, Andy?
That's what I'm getting down there.
The minibus, riding Constitution Hill.
I'll ride Constitution Hill and you can ride Marine National. Bit gutted there, like that both of them aren't going to be running. But you fancied State Man anyway, didn't you? But Constitution Hill had an infection, not recovered, the blood test haven't come back. Won't be running like me,
Definitely, you're a horse.
I've took the right antibiotics though. And then there's another one on the Wednesday. Again, we're going to be having a little Patreon show with Jamie the jockey. But Shake 'em Up Harry.
Is that meant to be Wednesday?
Sorry, on the Tuesday. Sorry, it is on the Tuesday. Shake 'em Up Harry. It's Harry Redknapp's horse. And it comes from when he used to be manager of West Ham. Apparently there was a fan who used to sit behind the dugout and always shout
Shake 'em up, Harry.
Like, you know, at half time. I'm like, Shake 'em up, Harry. And he was like, whenever I buy a horse, I'm going to call it that. So he's called it Shake 'em Up, Harry. I think it's like a 16 or 18 to 1 shot, I think, on the Tuesday. So if you're a fan of horses with names, Harry Redknapp's got one there. We spoke about the F1 last couple of weeks.
Broke, didn't it, as soon as we finished?
Well, the last week, it was when we were discussing whether it will basically be over or not. You kind of thought that'll be it to bed. Definitely wasn't. No. I think the biggest one, there's another bit of news that's come out just today. But in the week, I thought it was mad. So Max Verstappen's dad just come out and was like,
Horner needs to go.
Yeah, Horner needs to go. And I was like,
Josh Verstappen.
It was kind of getting dealt with as best as it could. I thought, you know, a little bit of hush money probably, like me and you alluded to. But either way, it was like, this is okay. Then obviously texts get leaked and this and that. But I still thought they were riding the storm all right. Horner and Jerry Halliwell had to show of strength, turn up at the F1 holding hands.
Just on that one though, do you know and you might know this, and I'm maybe just saying something you definitely knew, but he was married when he met Jerry Halliwell.
Was he?
She split them up. So maybe there's a bit of...
He's got past.
Leopards don't change the spots, lads.
So maybe Jerry's went, well,
you know, that's the way it goes,
given how we've started, you know, you never know. But I thought they were, you know, a bit of show of strength. These texts get leaked. By the way, it was the worst kind of dirty sex talk anyway, wasn't it?
If you're going to do it properly.
Proper creepy, weren't it?
I like a bit of sexting and all that, but that was bad, wasn't it?
Creepy, like weird little things, weren't it?
Basically saying I'm going to go and have a wank on my private jet on my own or something. Yeah. One of it was alluding to.
It's
a bit weird.
Strange.
And obviously, yeah.
And in between that, he was saying, just please delete these messages.
He's just a bit of a wet lettuce, I thought. Yeah. He needs, and I always think, again, like a mate of mine, I always listen to his pods, the True Geordie, when he had like people try and kind of out him on like dirty sex messages that he was sending, and he just owned it and was just like, yeah, so what? I fucking like this or I like that, and you know, bit of a laugh.
But he's in a bit of a different position than Horner, like.
A little bit,
just a bit, yeah.
Just a bit.
But
it's
actually good for him, that type of...
But I do think, though, you just need to own it. Anyway, he's owned it by saying, I never done any of it, it's all blag and all that, which Jerry Halliwell sticking by him. Like I say, the big problem is Max's dad's come out and was like, he needs to go, it's not good for the team.
Verstappen was a good driver in his own right.
Yeah. And it's then put Max in this awkward position where he's, you know, racing for the best team, he's the main man, they're doing well, they got a good car, you know, they won at the weekend, you know, this is going good. But then at the same time, his dad's saying, you know, your boss is a dickhead, he needs to go. So it's almost getting him to pick, and he's been very clever, and now he's come out and addressed the media saying, look, you know, my dad's always going to be there with me, but, you know, we're strong as a team as well, and he's trying to play it as best he can. But then what happened, what broke just today, was the woman who made all these allegations has just been suspended on full pay.
Wow.
What does that say about it?
It's bad, damn.
Hey, she's just been told, listen, we'll keep on paying you, just stay the fuck away.
Yeah.
What? I mean, listen, I've not worked for a proper job, if you like, from the brains. I don't know how HR works in most companies, but...
I mean, in fact, that, you know, putting someone on gardening leave in that instance is the sensible thing to do, because it's like, look, you don't want to be working here, you don't want to be in this environment, and all your colleagues, it's going to be awkward for you, so you just, you know, go and have some time off. It is pretty standard, that. However, I'm pretty sure there'll be more than just a salary that she's getting paid to just stay quiet while she's off.
It's a postman dropping a brown envelope every day. So yeah, so it'd be interesting in the F1 again this weekend. I think it's been overshadowed a lot by Horner's dirty sexts. Before we talk on the UFC, the boxing, I mean, in the tennis, we mentioned this a while back. Simona Halep, former world number 1, she was banned for 4 years. It's just been reduced to 9 months, so she can play straight away now.
Because of time served.
Yeah. I mean, it did seem a bit harsh, 4 years.
Yeah, again, we spoke about this last week, didn't we? Like, there's certain sports, and you're like, you know, it depends on the drug, one, but two, like, what damage are they, you know, really going to cause? Obviously, the integrity of the sport's important, the example for young people and whatever, but, I think, I mean, 9 months, 12 months seems a lot more reasonable.
I think, decent a year,
Because you're still having to keep yourself ticking over for that year, aren't you, and stuff, and you're obviously not going to get no income. You probably lose. It's all the impact of that, isn't it? If you get banned for 12 months from sport for using drugs, all your income probably goes straight away, because all your sponsors jib you off and all that. So to have 12 months out of the sport and to lose all your income at the same time is a big enough lesson. You've then got to have to try and like, obviously stay. And then coming back into the sport, you probably lose all your ranking points and everything. So I think I think that's a bit more of a fair ban,
Right, maybe we'll finish off on the boxing. I know you're a bigger fan of boxing than me. I just think I just think, you know what I'm going to say. I just think this is one of the most embarrassing weekends of boxing in a long, long time.
It's a bit harsh, like.
Okay, let me paint this picture for you then, right?
Again, you're focusing on the crap again, though, aren't you?
The 2 bits of crap, the 2 huge bits of steaming shits that are right in front of me. Yeah, I'm focusing on them. So one human big turd that's in front of me, let's start with that, is Anthony Joshua, an Olympic gold medalist, 2-time world heavyweight champion, is fighting a fella in his second ever boxing match who got beaten his first. Why? Because there's a fuck ton of money at the end of it. That is the only reason. At the same time, you've got one of the most iconic names in boxing. If you went to any city on the planet and said, give me a famous boxer's name, I reckon 70% of people are saying Mike Tyson, right? His legendary name, one of the best of all time, is now fighting a YouTuber 30 years younger than him, who in his last fight got beat by someone off Love Island. I mean,
not boxing though, is it? It's
what
just
is
a
it?
show. It's just a show.
Gary, it's boxing.
Maybe so if down the road, right, in a few weeks' time, Steven Gerrard decides to box Robbie Fowler, would you call that boxing, or would you just call it a charity event or whatever? I know this isn't for charity, but if it was a white collar boxing match and Fowler was fighting Gerrard,
no,
would you go, this is making a mockery of boxing, or would you just go, it is stupid, isn't it? But it is what it is.
No, I wouldn't even say it's got anything to do with boxing, because the two former professional footballers. This is a former heavyweight champion of the world and a boxer. He's a professional boxer. He's had professional boxing fights. So this isn't.
But he's not ranked by anyone. So he's not in the rankings. So he's not really a professional.
Was Tommy Fury ranked?
Yeah, but he's fought in actual.
There was talk of.
I think Jake Paul does get.
Yeah, I'm sure he was ranked.
By you though.
I'm not sure what body, but apparently...
But these fights, like the likes of the
just
Mike
based
Tyson
on his fight last week, apparently that moved him up, in quotes, in some form of rankings. But again, because it's him, I'm not really going to go down that rabbit hole.
But I think about it is, right, I'm actually intrigued by this Ngannou-Joshua fight, I'll be honest, I am. But you know what the worst bit about this Mike Tyson fight is, and Jake Paul?
I think it's pathetic.
It's like the
worst bit about it is, though, right? The worst bit about it is that egotistical, right? They're trying to take the shine off this Joshua Ngannou fight. Like, how much money and people talking about you do you want? Do you know what I mean? It's absolutely mind-blowing to think that. Alright, it's on Netflix, not going to be out till July. There's a huge boxing match-up going on in Saudi Arabia on Friday night. 24 hours before the fight, they announced this absolute freak show. They
know that the world's boxing media are all in one place, and it's going to create a buzz away from it.
That just says two people who are just, fame hungry, just want to be in the limelight, want people talking about them, which we are doing. So that listen, they're not soft. It just reeks of desperation. It's pathetic. Gutted about Mike Tyson. Absolutely gutted that he's gone to this level. I hate what it does for society, for young kids looking up.
I think the fact it's on Netflix, though.
Everything about it.
The fact it's on Netflix.
I might cancel my subscription for that month.
It's just making it. It's a show, isn't it? Netflix is a place.
Tyson's already done this with Roy Jones anyway, so it's not that.
Yeah, but I think fighting Roy Jones is different.
That's different, but I mean, it's still an exhibition. You knew no one was getting knocked out. You knew that there was no kind of like.
But what is right? Surely Mike Tyson does not need the money, right? Enough people. Well, he can't, and surely enough people know who Mike Tyson is. His legacy is intact. Is like what people think of him, and all that.
But the thing is, for Tyson, it's not. He doesn't lose anything from it, does he?
He's lost my respect for one. He's lost something already.
I'm sure he's going to struggle to sleep tonight without Andy Gans' respect.
But I won't be the only one who's lost respect for him.
Jake Paul's probably got more to lose because how old's Mike Tyson? 50?
He's 30 years older than him. Lad, by the time Jake Paul was born, Mike Tyson had been world champion, been in prison, and then was on his comeback.
So if Jake Paul gets knocked out by a near 60-year-old man... Doesn't matter.
But so it won't, then it'll go to points again. Then
where is this thing though, right? Where it's now okay for a 27-year-old man to fight a 57-year-old man?
That's not. As
long as they're still bringing the money in, then it'll continue to happen.
It's uncomfortable, to be fair.
If you said to me, right,
he could hurt Mike Tyson, like
unintentionally.
If you said to me, if anyone said to me, "Hey lad, I'm having a fight," on this fella who walks the dog by ours, and I walk my dog, and we had a bit of a barney. And he said to me, lad, I'll have you a straightener. Come and meet me
and
now.
He's nearly 60.
And he's nearly 60, but he looks like he's having it. And I might go and have it with him. Do you want to come and watch? I'd be like, lad, get your head down, he's 60. That's what it is.
But the fella around the corner is going to give us 20 grand to do it.
That's the difference. But they don't need the money.
The drug dealer on the corner said he's going to give us 10 bags each.
That, you know what? That's like it. That's what it's like. That is what it's like. And mate, I just think boxing, and you know what? I hate Eddie Hearn and all of them who was like, these YouTube boxers would be a good thing. They'd be a good thing. What good has it brought?
It's good for their pockets, mate, that's it.
It's good for their pockets, yeah, but it's made a mockery of the sport. An absolute mockery of it.
Can we talk about the good side of boxing though?
Yeah. So let's stop talking about
Let's talk about like Nick or someone.
Yeah, so we'll finish off on the good. The last bit of shit, the AJ thing. I'm intrigued by this Ngannou fight. Like, listen, Ngannou is a beast, isn't he? And I actually think he might win, you know. I think he might knock Joshua out in the later rounds.
I think he'll hurt him. I mean, like, when you've got people like Johnny Nelson watching him doing pad work and going, I've never heard someone hit a pad as clean as he's hitting a pad. If he misses, it's hitting you. I mean, you obviously criticised the last fight, and I get it, and I'm not going to defend all of it. But when you've also got Tyson Fury going, mate, I've never been hit as hard as he hit me. You know, Wilder, I was in with him 2-3 times, and he didn't hit me as hard as he hit him. That's no joke.
Fury's more elusive, doesn't get hit as much. Joshua get hit more.
Yeah, and he's I know you're saying, oh yeah, it's a second professional fight. He's one of the best mixed martial artists that's ever walked the planet. So he's no joke. He's literally been fighting people all his life.
No, get
like
that.
He's not a renowned maybe striker or whatever, but he clearly can strike. He's a massive fella. He's hard as nails, and he's committed to what he does. So,
but surely though, I get all that, and I'm not going to disagree with. But if you're fighting an Olympic gold medalist, a 2-time heavyweight champion, surely you should be getting battered.
The odds are not getting battered, but I think you should look at least a level below it, and that should really happen. And obviously the odds reflect that. Joshua's huge.
I'll be having a little sneaky fiver on like Ngannou, like 7-9.
I think Ngannou, to put him on the canvas would be good value.
Do you think he'll win?
No, but I think there's every chance that he at least has to take a knee at some point, because he gets hit with something that's...
What score are you thinking?
I reckon, again, it's more of it should be more of a tune-up fight for Joshua to then start getting the kind of fights that he wants, but while still getting paid. So what other fights did he have on the table that still had the same kind of risk, but he's getting weighed in big time?
Yeah. No.
So I reckon Joshua wins.
I think he wins every round probably, but I do think he'll get hurt in one of the rounds in some way, shape or form.
I think where this is all leading to as well is the whole, you throw Fury in the mix. I thought it was interesting how Ngannou basically put him in his place and just said, you're lucky this is a ring that we're fighting in, because if I catch you kind of in the street or in an octagon, you're in a bad place. And
yeah, but that's like saying, it's a good job we're not playing 5-a-side, mate, because I'd make you. An 11-a-side pitch. It's like it's no, do you know what I mean? So
you're on for this title of like baddest man on the planet, aren't you? So it's like, or potentially could do it again in an octagon and all that. I don't think there's
that's why Fury won't.
I don't think there's any doubt.
Not a chance.
Ngannou would kill him in any other time, place other than a boxing ring.
Him, yeah.
And it just goes to show though. And you know what the other thing I thought was, I saw an interview with Fury this week, and I agree to a point where they're kind of bigging up the Saudis, saying well done for putting on all these fights and all that. Yet the prize fighters are the best in the world at what they do. I get that. But like Fury and all that are walking around like as if they were like skimp before the Saudis come around. They were getting weighed in big time regardless. Do you know what I mean? It's just become like super weighed in by the Saudis. It's like these fights are only getting made now because Saudi are here. Well, no, they could have got made beforehand, but you were just being a bit too greedy. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, definitely. And Fury was criticising Ngannou, and he's saying like, you should be grateful to me. I gave you, your big payday and whatever.
Yeah, it takes two to tango.
No, it does.
Right, I'll get that's my negativity out the way, and let's focus on what is a decent undercard from what I've seen.
Very good. I mean, Muskie, Nick Ball, Ray Vargas, big chance for him.
Did you see the height difference, by the way? The height difference is mad.
But Nick, as you'll know,
that's where Nick
exactly body shots and that, it's a bigger target, isn't it, for him? And
he's not going to be going upstairs that often anyway. He tends to go low, so it doesn't really matter how tall a person is. Vargas has obviously got the reach on him, but Nick likes to get tight anyway.
He's an awkward fighter. He's very awkward, very Vargas, and that it's going to be interesting. He's not going to be, I don't think, getting as close to Vargas as he did to Lowe. You know, I don't think he's going to be finding himself. Or Dogbo, yeah. I don't think he'll be finding himself in that corner as much as he'd like to be. But again, I think, as you say, I think that the bigger target of the body that he'll have, and the ridiculous power and strength he's got, I just don't. I mean, I do actually see it. I do see it going the distance, though. You know. Yeah. I don't think he's.
That's where the money is.
He's a lot more elusive, yeah.
I don't think it'll be put a points then victory then going against Haaland. Do you think if it goes the distance?
No, I wouldn't say.
He's Nick's favourite. Even though he's the challenger, he's favourite. And
1 to 2,
if you look at the odds are kind of in favour of it. Probably will go the distance. Okay. Maybe late rounds, Nick. Like, if he can get him out.
Well, that's it. I think the value of a late round stoppage is that he's imagining he'll be ahead on the cards going into the last few rounds, and then Vargas might have to trade a bit more, and the minute he trades, that's when the danger in the hope. But I think if it gets to the later rounds, Nick Ball in his corner will be more inclined to go, let's get this over the line, let's not take risks now. So I think again, if you're looking to put a bet on it, or I think it'll go the distance. I think Nick Ball wins.
Yeah. That's the one big thing, you know, the fact Nick Ball's getting to fight over there. Hopefully he's getting weighed in a bit. That's the one big positive, isn't it, I guess?
I mean, he's announced himself domestically already. Most Europeans, you know, obviously Vargas being over in America, Americans know him a little bit. This will announce him on the world stage, obviously taking a world title, and amazing opportunity for him, and again, great out there for the gym as well.
Yeah, massive, yeah. So you had your Peter out there as well?
Yeah, Peter and Joe both out there. I think more for they're sparring with Brad Strand, so Brad's got a fight in Birmingham coming up next weekend. So it's quite busy for the gym, but the main coach is just Paul. So Paul's obviously out there with Nick, Paul and Anthony. So the lads have had to go out to help Brad get prepared for next week, because it's all systems go at the Red Triangle.
Red Triangle gym, smashing it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Red Triangle gym getting weighed in Saudi, lads.
Everton are out there. Everton are winning things.
Listen, if they're going to win, mate, up the boys are getting weighed in. Now I'll be watching it for the Nick Ball, and then I'll just watch it just for the freak show. That's going to be Joshua, but yeah.
You will 1,000,000% watch the Joshua fight.
Of course I will, but I'm just saying I'm there first and foremost for the Nick Ball fight. Hopefully you can bring it over.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
I'm brilliant, yeah.
Definitely.
I think that's us. Once again, massive thanks to Hybrid Tech for the sponsors. Don't forget, if you're on the tools, go and check them out. The workshop again for letting us use the venue. Don't forget, if you're into your Cheltenham and you want to see our Gary's darts tips and our footy tips of the weekend, hopefully we can make it 2 in 2. Get signed up on Patreon and we'll give you some Cheltenham tips next week. Don't forget, like, subscribe, share the pod, do all that. We greatly appreciate it, and we will see you next week.